Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Spirituality on the Go. Today, I want to tackle a question, which is, what is the proof of existence of the soul? So, I'll talk about a modern neuroscientist called Dr. Penfield, who wrote a book called The Workings of the Mind, or something along those lines. And he conducted lots and lots of experiments on basically his objective was to disapprove the concept of a soul. So his scientific activities, his scientific experiments were all focused on how can I make sure that I can scientifically disapprove that there is nothing called a soul, no entity called soul. One of his many experiments, he had a subject, and he had all the different instruments wired up on his brain, and he was monitoring his brain activity. And he asked the subject, do you actually no, he didn't ask subject. The subject raised his arm, and he said, the subject, this, I'm quoting the subject here, he said, I raised my arm. So when he did that, Dr. Penfield was monitoring his brain activity, and he figured out, okay, this part of the brain is actually getting activated when he's raising up his arm. Then he put his arm down. Then he also said again, the subject said again, I put my arm down. So he again monitored the the part of the brain that was being activated when he was putting his arm down. So using some state-of-the-art technology, what Dr. Penfield did was that he activated that part of the brain, and the arm went up. So he was the agent in this case, right? So the guy who was the subject, he didn't put his arm up. Dr. Penfield activated that part of the brain which raised his arm. So when Dr. Penfield asked the subject, did you raise your arm? The subject replied, my arm went up, which means that he didn't put his arm up. It was someone else who did it for him. Similarly, when he deactivated that part of the brain, Dr. Penfield deactivated that part of the brain, the arm came down. And the subject replied, my arm went down. I did not put my arm down. So, critical thing to note about the statements which the subject is making. In the first instance, he said, I put my arm up. So who was the agent which triggered the brain activity? And in the second instance, when Dr. Penfield injected the brain activity by utilizing technology, it was the Dr. Penfield who was the external agent which is controlling the brain. But in the first instance, who was the external agent? So that is the question, right? So that is the proof of existence of a soul. That when brain is basically a machine which needs to be controlled by someone. In the second instance, Dr. Penfield was controlling it. In the first instance, it was the soul controlling it. So this is the proof of the soul's existence. That the brain is actually it's a computer machine, but it is programmed by something out of itself. And that out of itself is soul, and more specifically, it's the consciousness, which is the specific energy of the soul, which is responsible for driving this activity. So take-home message from today's video is there is ample scientific evidence that there is something inside of us. We are not the body, we are the soul, and there is ample scientific evidence which is contributing to the fact that it's this instance of Bhagavad Gita talking about the presence of the soul is scientifically proven many times by many researchers over the period of 50, 100 years. So if anyone tells you that what is the proof of the soul, that you can't see it, there is ample evidence, and you can talk about this example that I talked about today. All right, Hare Krishna. Happy Monday.